A few years ago, I reached a milestone at work. It should have felt like a satisfaction. Instead, I found myself thinking, I need a break, but not the kind with an itinerary, not the kind where you rush from one place to another, trying to see everything, just distance. It had been a while since I traveled alone, and when I thought about it, I realized something. Every solo trip I had taken before had a purpose: adventure, exploration, sometimes even spirituality. There was always a reason to go, but this time I wanted none. No checklist, no purpose, just few days in a city where nobody know me. Not as a tourist, not as someone on a trip, just another person. A few weeks ago, while making this video about why rest doesn't always feel like a rest, I found myself thinking about this journey. At first, I didn't understand why. They seemed to be two different stories. But more I think about it, the more I realize they were asking the same question. It took me years to understand what that question actually was. At that time, I couldn't have put it into words. I just knew I wanted to spend a few days without having to become anything. Looking back now, I think I had stumbled upon something much deeper. I realized how deeply we are conditioned to attach purpose to everything. Every minute, every meaning, every action, anything done without a clear outcome start to feel like a waste, almost uncomfortable. And somewhere within, there is a quiet battle, a doubt that asks, what am I doing here? Looking back, I think that's what made this trip different. It wasn't Pushkar, it wasn't the train journey, it was the discomfort of having absolutely no agenda. To be honest, my expectations were quite low. I genuinely thought I would spend most of my time in a hotel room with laptop open, slowly slipping back into the same routine I was trying to take a break from. But that's not what happened. Instead, something unexpected happened. It felt as though life had been waiting quietly, patiently, with open arms. And then the journey began. Early in the morning, standing on a railway platform, watching the world slowly wake up. I have always found something strangely calming about railway stations at that hour. There is a stillness just before the rush begins. Then came the train journey, a compartment filled with people from different walks of life, each carrying their own destination, their own stories, their own reason for traveling. And there I was, for what felt like the first time in a long while, not chasing anything. As the train moved through Rajasthan. The landscape unfolded slowly. Long stretches of green, small towns, stations where life seemed to move at its own pace. Maybe it's because I have spent so many years living in a metro city. But those little moments didn't feel ordinary. They felt luxurious, not because they were extraordinary, but because nothing seemed to be in hurry. Most of our trips comes with a purpose, a places to visit, things to do, a plan just that justify the trip. But this trip was different. It remained true to what I had hoped for. A few days in a city that knew nothing about me. But somewhere along the train rides, quiet walks, and unplanned movements, I kept asking myself, what was this trip really about? What I was trying to leave behind? And what exactly was I hoping to find? Back home, life had become series of things to accomplish, responsibilities, expectations, deadlines. Even conversations sometimes felt as though they were leading somewhere. But here, there was only one thing left to do, just be true to oneself. My days began early. I'd sit by the ghats, watching the water move. It flowed as if it had nowhere to reach, yet it never stopped. I'd simply sit there trying to absorb the stillness, the silence, the quiet coexistence of everything around me. And somewhere along the way, I started noticing something. The simplest interaction started bringing an unexpected sense of satisfaction. One afternoon, I helped the chaiwala communicate with a group of foreign tourists. A few words, a few gestures, and a lot of smiles. The hotel where I was staying, I found myself complimenting the family who ran it. There wasn't anything luxurious about the place, it just felt warm. One evening, I saw a few shopkeepers pause their work to play a game of Ludo together. For those few minutes, it felt as if time itself had stopped chasing them. Then there was a small cafe where the owner and the cook were the same person. He prepared every meal himself, quietly, patiently, giving each dish his full attention. When I left, I remember thinking, the least I can do is leave a review, not because someone asked me to, but because effort like that deserve to be noticed. Looking back, none of these moments were extraordinary. Most of the people would probably walk past them, but for me, they became the most memorable part of the trip because for once nothing felt rushed, nothing needed to be measured, no one was trying to impress anyone. Everything simply existed. And maybe in those ordinary moments, I found what I had been searching for. I wasn't really escaping my life. I was just tired. Tired of constantly becoming the version of myself that would satisfy the expectations. Sometimes my own, sometimes everyone else. What I was searching for wasn't a new place. It wasn't a particular feeling. It was a way of living, even if only for a few days, where I didn't have to explain myself, where my worth wasn't measured by validation, productivity, or achievement. Just small, honest moments, sitting by the ghats, talking to strangers who knew nothing about me, appreciating people whose work often goes unnoticed. That's when a thought stayed with me. How much of our life do we miss while we are busy trying to build a life? Maybe that's the irony. We travel hundreds of kilometers only to return with something incredible simple, that being present, being kind, being genuine was enough all along.